It's time for the Chris and Andre Show.
More Perfect Union. If you haven't checked out their channel, they have a lot of good videos and very, 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 very detailed, very, very informative. Again, check them out. But they did a story recently about private equity killing youth sports. I have a lot of thoughts, but I'd love to hear what you think about it.
Yeah. Where to begin? So I think, it reminded me watching the video a lot of what was deemed kind of like the college arms race back in the 90s and early 2000s, all before the NIL era, where it was all about facilities, right? Like, how much money can we spend on the place that you're going to spend the most time here if we can't just be giving you this cash directly? And I mean, NC State, I remember like when Dave Doran first got there, it was this big push to get the indoor practice facility because we were one of the only teams in the ACC that didn't have one at the time, yada, yada, yada. It sounds to me like that's a lot of what's kind of happening now in youth sports, where it's all about like getting the best equipment, the best bats, the best, fields, the best stadiums. I mean, that Cal Ripken baseball stadium they show that's got like 17 fields, custom walk-up music. I'm sorry, what kid needs custom walk-up music to learn how to play baseball the right way? Which was the quote about like him and his brother starting the whole thing. Seems really ridiculous, and I think there's
Cal
another
Ripken, bro.
Well, sure. I mean, and I'm not saying that you can't make money off of it. I'm just saying, I think to say I want a place where kids can learn to play baseball the right way, that seems at least to focus on a lot of things that aren't really about playing baseball. Seems kind of, I don't know, at odds with each other. But yeah, I guess that's my initial set of thoughts. Let's hear what you...
Well, I'll frame it like this. I saw the other day on my way home a dad throwing a ball with his kid in the front yard. And I bet you that kid will be a lot better than most of the kids that, well, I don't know. But I'll stick with that. That kid will probably be a lot better than some kid that went to Cal Ripken's.
He'll probably be more well-adjusted in the long run.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
When we went to Florida to see two of our sons, my oldest son was reminding me how I taught him and his brothers how to play baseball and things like that. Not the way my dad did it, but but it also got me thinking about the mom's motivation from New York, where college is almost unattainable. It's almost, it is, you can't really afford to put one kid through college, yet alone two. So these kids are really starting young in hopes of getting an opportunity to get a college scholarship.
Thinking of trying out for a scholarship.
Give me the ball, Victor. Give me that ball.
So aside from the stupidity of the rest of it, I think for me, that was the bigger story. And she spent like $25K a year.
Fatima spends roughly $17,000 on team fees, $6,000 on travel and lodging, and another $2,000 on equipment. That's $25,000 a year to have her kids competing in youth sports.
It's taking the fun out of sports, and whether it was her taking the subway to go play basketball and the coach having to find places where they could play, or the baseball side of it, we've turned, like, I don't think it's private. Well, I do think it's partially private equity, but I think the motivations and the reasons why people are doing these things they're unheard of. It's really insane.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. I think, for a long time, the athletic scholarship was viewed as kind of a ticket, out of a bad situation or out of a bad neighborhood, into an academic life where at the very least you're going to leave hopefully with the degree and regardless of how vigorous the classwork may have been. But
Yeah, ice cream topping studies.
yeah, which I think is a whole nother kind of side topic to all of this. But it really is like the marriage of athletics and academics at the college level, and like you're saying, the fact that college is so expensive now. A lot of parents view their only way to make it an option for their kids to go to college is for them to achieve some sort of athletic scholarship. And that leads them to doing a lot of things that I think otherwise they wouldn't do. Like you're saying, riding the subway all the way across town to go play basketball. And I thought it was interesting because at the beginning of the video, she's like, "Oh, I'm a momager and I'm managing all of these, 7 different sports and yada yada." And she's like, "But they just love to play." And the very next scene was her waking them up at like the crack of dawn because it was time to go play baseball. And neither of them looked like they
weren't
super
happy.
excited for that, right? And and then later in the video, it was like, well, I'm just gonna, and this was her again, just being like, well, I'm just gonna push in the hopes that we can get, they can get scholarships to go to college. And it's like, well, again, those two things to me seem to be somewhat at odds with each other. Of they love it, and I'm gonna push, which to me is kind of like, and I don't mean this to come off as super judgmental of her, because I'm not in her shoes or anything like that. But I think it's not just her, but that is a mentality that is pervasive throughout a lot of youth sports. And, I think like for me growing up, I was never, like star athlete or especially good in any sport, but I played baseball, basketball, soccer. I played a little bit of football, like everything at the rec league level, which gave me an opportunity to learn and to get some exercise and to meet kids that I didn't necessarily go to school with. And, it was like, honestly, great experience. And I think the fact that a lot of that is starting to go away at that rec league level, like they talked about in the video, is another really sad part of it. And it feels like what's left is that super upper echelon of like the club level, which existed back in, my day. But it was like, yeah, that's if you're serious and you want to get a scholarship to go play at a university. Yeah, you go play this club on this club team, and you're going to travel the whole state of California to do these tournaments and stuff like that. But that's what it takes. And I was never that good, but at least I had, the option to still play and to get the experience of enjoying that sport. And I think it's really sad that it seems like a lot of that is being taken away, and kids are kind of being shoved or pushed into that upper echelon when maybe that's not really where they want to be or where they belong.
Whether it's one of my nephews was doing AAU basketball, and he realized recently that, he's not going to be that star player. Like it was never in the cards, right? Mm-hmm. Then I can think back to my daughter who did competitive karate. That's expensive. And we did a lot of travel. To tie it back to private equity, I don't think that's the place for youth sports. And, I think back to the representative that was speaking in Congress saying
that if I live stream my child's hockey game, my kid's team will be penalized and lose a place in the standings. Why is that? Because a private equity company has bought up all the rinks.
Okay, enough's enough. And I think he's right. Enough's enough. Why are we monetizing, youth sports? Why are rec leagues being strangled? In my town, rec athletics are still alive and well, but we're a wealthy town. So what happens to the less fortunate towns and communities.
Yeah.
I think it's a moral failing, to be honest with you. I mean, everything shouldn't be monetized. And to the college path, I think that's wrong too. I think it should be an avenue, but it shouldn't be the driving force. I'm going to assume the lady in the video was middle class, upper middle class, but then that says a whole lot's wrong with our college system, our upper, higher education.
So real quick, I just had a thought. If she's spending $25K a year, I mean, that's tuition.
Not really. Not really. No.
Okay.
That's barely.
Even at an in-state?
In-state, probably a semester. Yeah. Like NC State is expensive right now.
Yeah. It was
so
when I went too.
Yeah.
But I know it's
Right.
even gets gotten even more expensive now, for sure.
So if she's thinking about sending her kids to school in New York, I can only imagine what that costs, right?
Yeah.
So I think that we have, I think private equity took advantage of a market.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's kind of what they do, right? Like,
right.
But it very rarely works out for the market or the consumers or the company that they come in and take over. So, like, the only people that really seem to benefit are the private equity owners and managers. So, I don't know. I mean, it's not a knee-jerk, hey, let's ban private equity, but I think should there be regulations in terms of the types of things that they can invest in, or that, I don't know. Because it just feels like it's gotten really out of control in a sense, where this has just become, I mean, it seems like every month, it's some other company that's been acquired, and then 3 months later, they filed for bankruptcy because it was a leveraged buyout.
I just heard a story recently about they're buying bowling alleys, right? So even well, I mean, it's an
for
unsung
land.
No, because there are towns and places where bowling, that's the thing.
Yeah,
right?
It's big. Yeah, I mean, especially in the Midwest. Yeah.
Right. So if I buy up every Bowlerama,
yeah,
I corner the market. So my $6 pitcher of beer is now $17. My shoe rentals go from $4.25
yeah, exactly, to 10
to 10, right?
Yeah.
And so I think I'm not a regulations guy. I think we should have regulations that make sense, but not just to overregulate.
Regulators, mount up.
I do believe in a somewhat free market, but not to, victimize people, or to take advantage of people in the market.
Yeah.
So I'm stuck in the middle on that one. I don't have an answer, but I do know it's wrong. And I think that if we're cannibalizing youth sports and we're cannibalizing things that people used to do for fun, like even bowling, we're on the wrong path. It's just, maybe you need something.
Yeah. The other thing you were talking about, monopolizing the bowling alleys and stuff like that, the state of play that they talked about, where these private equity firms have bought up the leagues, the travel places, they have specific hotels, they have the websites, like all of this stuff, and it's basically like you have to use all of this if you want to be included as part of this tournament. And
you have to buy this equipment, right? You can only have this. I understand the safety concerns in karate, but we had to buy certain pads. We would buy punching bags and all. I mean, it wasn't cheap. I mean, we would spend some serious cash to go from here to Ohio, from here to Florida, from here to wherever the tournament was. And again, fortunate that we were able to do that, but it it becomes the difference between the haves and the have-nots. And looking back now and seeing how much it's evolved to where more and more things are being consumed by that entity or those entities, it's really bad. It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
So, private equity, they're doing what they do. They're doing what they do. So,
the other thing that I thought was interesting was the Norway bit.
Norway is a nation the size of Minnesota, just over 5 million people, and yet they win all these medals? How did that happen? They created a Bill of Rights for children in sports.
Dude.
Because of course.
When I saw that part, I just smiled. I'll tell you part of my experience. My first day of school, we had to have a rucksack and like a walking stick. And I was, coming from New York, I was like, what are we doing, right? And not just like a backpack. We're talking like you're like going somewhere.
Pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the entire school hiked from Oslo American to a mountain, and then we hiked back. In the wintertime, there was the physical fitness test was you had to cross country ski and downhill ski, like I think it was 3 or 4 miles. And yeah, I mean, everybody can do it. We had to, take swimming and all these things because but even the Bill of Rights, if the kid needs to want to do it, you can't make the kids do it. On a similar topic, I was talking with some family on Mother's Day, and socialism came up, and I said, "Well, your home country is socialist." No, it's not. I'm like, yeah, it is. They have some very socialist policies there, and I had to steer them away from focusing on like socialism as seen by Cuba and China, which are different forms of socialism, back to what socialist country, comparative socialist countries, most of Scandinavia, most of Europe are very socialist. And maybe it's not so bad, like, I'm sorry. It's like,
yeah. Welcome to this side.
Welcome back, friend. I knew this day would come.
Dale, get off of me.
No, but I mean, you look at like one of the most, I guess, what is often looked at upon, very favorably. No, I shouldn't say that. A lot of the programs that have been eliminated lately or that are under attack are socialist programs that were put in place because of things like the Great Depression and the stock market crash and all of that. And it wasn't until Reagan and his ilk kind of came in and started dismantling a lot of that, that we started looking at it as like these entitlements or, like these handouts, as opposed to government programs designed to help people that need help when they need it, and designed to make things affordable that should be affordable. I don't know. Provide the services that the citizens need. What am I missing here? I feel like I'm dancing around it, but I'm not.
Well, the reality is government is not a business. It is a investment into the community. And the minute we look at government services and functions as something that have to be profitable, we've missed the plot. And to FDR's credit, partially, there was a great need for a lot of those things outside of the Great Depression, right? Because people were getting older and people were living longer. Now, granted, there was some hijinks with that, and black families weren't given the same benefits as other families. So I kind of look at that with a squinted eye. But I do think that there's something to be said that our government must be working for the people that they represent. And we've gotten so far away from that.
There is no power but what the people allow you to take.
That I think that we're letting the system, how do we get to a point where a mom is paying $25K for her kids to play basketball, right? I don't even remember how much we paid for Jaylee to compete in karate, right? But it wasn't $25K. I could just tell you that. It was something we budgeted for, yes, and we attended every tournament. We drove everywhere. We may not fly sometimes, but we were getting in the car and just drive. So I think that there's something to be said that for the benefit of the community, if these kids are going to eventually get older and need to contribute back or participate in the communities they live in, why not equip them now? Why not make sure they're healthy, happy, and have the skills? Or not.
That is the alternative that we seem to be leaning towards at the moment for whatever reason.
Right. And I think that's the general heart of socialist programs. It's to take care of for the benefit of the society. And if we don't care about that and we all want to be I don't know. I just think it's weird. I think it's sad. And hopefully I hate to call them leaders because they're not. Hopefully the people that should be making these decisions make better decisions. So.
Thanks for checking out the Chris and Andre Show. This is the part where we ask you to like and subscribe. You could also leave a comment and share this with someone you think would find useful. For more content like this, head on over to chrisandandreshow.com. Remember, stay sane, stay safe, and stay salty. We'll see you on the next one.